Behind me, there's a Boeing 737. Boeing is the world's largest aerospace company and leading manufacturer of commercial jetliners. As America's biggest manufacturing exporter, the company exports airplanes to more than 150 countries.
I'm Megan, here in beautiful Jamaica, famous for its resorts, Bob Marley, and Blue Mountain coffee. This expensive premium coffee grows in the Blue Mountains of Jamaica, north of the city of Kingston. Jamaica exports about 5 million pounds of Blue Mountain coffee every year and trades its coffee to the U.S. for airplanes.
Now, I'm going to explain absolute and comparative advantage. But first, let's jump straight into vocabulary. Assume it costs Jamaica $100 to produce 10 bags of coffee. We want to find Jamaica's per unit cost for each bag of coffee. To find the per unit opportunity cost, you just take the opportunity cost and divide that by the units gained. In this situation, the opportunity cost is $100 and you divide that by 10 bags of coffee. That gives you $10 per bag. Easy, right? Now let's take money out of the equation. What if, instead of producing 200 bags of coffee, Jamaica could have made 20 planes? Let's calculate Jamaica's per unit opportunity cost for each bag in terms of planes given up. Divide both sides by 200, which will give you one bag for every 1/10 of a plane. Now let's find Jamaica's per unit opportunity cost for each plane in terms of bags given up. Divide each side by 20, and that gives you one plane per 10 bags of coffee. Now let's say that the US can produce 100 planes or 200 bags of coffee. Following the same steps we took to calculate the opportunity cost in Jamaica, we can do the same now for the US. The US's opportunity cost for one plane in terms of bags of coffee given up is one plane costs 2 bags of coffee. The opportunity cost for one bag of coffee in terms of planes given up is one bag of coffee costs half a plane. Countries should specialize or trade in the good that is cheaper for them to produce. The producer with the lowest opportunity cost has the comparative advantage. Jamaica has a comparative advantage in the production of bags of coffee. The US has a comparative advantage in the production of airplanes. The producer that can produce the most output is said to have the absolute advantage. Both Jamaica and the US can produce the same number of bags of coffee, but the US can produce more planes. Therefore, the US has the absolute advantage in terms of planes. When setting up a terms of trade chart, you fill in the amount each country can produce in the columns. Next to each item, you find the opportunity cost. The terms of trade are the agreed upon conditions that would benefit both countries. You can choose to look at either column. Since the planes column has nice whole numbers, we'll evaluate that side. We need to find a ratio of planes to bags of coffee that will benefit both countries. If the terms of trade for one plane ever exceeds 10 bags of coffee, then Jamaica is left worse off. Similarly, if the terms of trade for one plane is ever less than 2 bags of coffee, then the US is worse off. Any number between 10 or 2 will work, but to find the most fair number, all you have to do is find the median value. Add 10 and 2 together to get 12 and divide that by 2 and you get 6. There is one last thing you can do to help yourself visualize the terms of trade between each of these countries. You can draw a graph. You put one item on your x-axis, the other on your y. Fill out the values and then connect the lines for each country. And that's all.